My parents really wanted to move it for them. I
Huh? What do you mean?
My husband used our savings to buy an apartment for his parents without discussing it with me.
We just have to save up again. Anyway, I don't need you telling me do with my own money.
He is totally gone. I felt nothing, not even sadness or anger. Like I was suddenly pulled down into a purgatory of nothingness. And then I slowly grabbed his hands. I met my husband, Eric, at my college party. He was sitting across from me on the sofa, and I noticed him glancing at me. As the hour passed by and the party its peak, he and I were out on the quiet cornfield having a conversation. We had the same hobbies and interests, and it was exciting to chat with him. We exchanged our numbers and started 25 years when he proposed to me after 2 years. It was my dream to marry young and family, so I said yes to him. We got a 1-bedroom apartment near parents. I quit my job and became a stay-at-home mom when he requested it. Soon after that, I got pregnant and son, Mark. Around this time, my in-laws started inviting us to their house often. They never contacted me directly, but through Eric. I understood that they really wanted their grandson. They actually adored Mark and bought a lot of toys for him. Mark, who was very attached to me, was used to them. However, every time I went there, I had an uncomfortable feeling.
If you're too busy with housework, you don't have to come over.
We are happy just to see Eric and Mark.
It feels claustrophobic here.
They seemed like they wanted to get me. Mark was still young and cried wherever he went. I wasn't comfortable leaving him alone with my elderly in-laws. So I stayed put, no matter how they throw me out. I guessed they weren't pleased with aloofness, that their attitude towards me became. One day, when I was cleaning the house, I received a call from Eric. He was panicking over the phone because his mom called an ambulance for hitting her pinky against the table. He gave me the name of the hospital to go ASAP. She just banged her pinky. Why was I sent to check on her I just did the same a few minutes ago. I was about to protest, but he hung up. Reluctantly, I went out to the hospital. When I was walking towards the reception counter, a lady came up to me and asked if she could help. I saw my mother-in-law sitting in the room. She was chattering with other elder. When I called out to her, she didn't respond.
I bumped it a little. Eric is overreacting. Don't slack on chores and go home.
Who exaggerated it by calling an ambassador a pompous ass. I stopped doing my chores to come here for you. I don't deserve to be told slacking. As I started walking away, I heard them talking about me.
My daughter-in-law is awful at housework. I am so lazy. I don't know what to do with myself. On top of it, she's mean.
I couldn't hear after that and just walking. I complained to Eric when he got a night.
But he only said, whatever, it's all good. And he kept drinking beer.
I got upset with his indifference.
How the hell is it all good?
God, you're annoying. Stop complaining about everything all the time. I'm exhausted from work.
He got mad at me and we didn't speak to each other for a whole week. I became uneasy that Eric might not be able to meet his living expenses for the next month. He was in charge of handling the fan finance. I usually get a monthly allowance to meet my ends. If he hadn't done it, I wouldn't have been able to do so. Too worried that I apologized to him, who willingly accepted, and we went on with our normal life like nothing ever happened. Who knew something bigger was to come? Eric dropped the bomb just 3 days and made it up. His mom had trouble walking, so we 6 move in with them. I, of course, refused.
I plan to go back to work after middle school. I can't continue looking after her.
Well then, we are getting a divorce. You're a housewife, so you won't be support Mark.
I couldn't retort to his comment. In fact, I was unemployed and didn't mean to raise him. Even if I found a job now, where was to leave him? My parents lived with my brother, Hi, and their 5 kids. I couldn't put more weight on their shoulders. I had no choice but to accept his demand again. We were to break the contract of our apartment and move in with his parents at the end of the month. On the day of our move, his parents cheerfully welcomed Era, but to me, they commanded detailed the house and instructed me to ask for their before I went out. There was nothing welcoming about it. Since then, their discrimination has escalated. One day, I came back from grocery, little before noon. I saw empty boxes of pizza on the kitchen counter, and it seemed like the family had just finished eating lunch. I clearly told them when I left, I alone make lunch, so please wait for... Oh, Stacy, we were craving pizza, so ordered in. We left some for you on the dining. Thank you. I went to the dining room and opened it. There was one piece of pizza inside. I felt frustrated to be left out again. The piece wasn't even whole with a missing on the side. Probably Mark had a bite. I didn't even get a complete piece. I felt like Mark was even mocking me. Eyes became watery. Another time, the rain suddenly started to fall heavily. I had left our sneakers under the stairs, rushed back home. When I got back, I found that my moth had already taken Eric and Mark's, but left mine out, soaked in the rain. Eric and my father-in-law pretended to be oblivious. At lunch and dinner, if I served a sharing plate, they immediately took everything from me. So I served them separately with a serving next time. They complained it was too small. Such was my life. In the end, I kept my own potion on before serving them and ate it secretly after they finished. I had been trying my best not to aggravate, but I finally had enough and was about to plead with Eric for help, but...
Hey, I bought a new apartment. I will take you to see it. You'd like sure.
I was flabbergasted. We never discussed such a matter. And where did the money come from? I had to rush to go and see it with my friend. It was a brand new apartment building in the heart of the city. There was a mall, school, government, and post office nearby. It was in a very convenient location. The apartment was just finished building by a couple of weeks ago. We entered the room at the corner of floor. It was unbelievably bright, big, and great view. It was almost perfect. The moment I was about to ask him at most important matter,
my parents say they really want to hear. I bought it with the sale of their all the savings. Isn't it amazing?
What the hell did he say? It was his parents' wish. Spent all the savings that were supposed to be for our son's education. We are retired and have been living in the Philippines since 2001. We have a small farm where we grow vegetables, fruits, and raise chickens. We also enjoy traveling around the country and exploring new places. What in the world was so amazing?
How could you do such a selfish thing? Please cancel the contract.
I was in total panic and begged him to cancel.
Huh. We just start saving again. Anyway, I don't need you telling me what to do with my own money. A housewife has no say in this.
He snapped back at me.
You told me to quit my job and stay at home?
The word divorce popped into my head, and I ran out of the apartment. When I got home, my father-in-law was watching TV, and my mother-in-law was busy on the phone. I hurried to collect the necessary, packed them in a bag, then scrawled down, "Let's divorce" on paper. I left my wedding ring at home, but I had a small diamond on my finger. I rushed out of the house carrying was half asleep. Let's get a room in a motel for now. We were wandering the street on foot, knowing what to do next. Then I heard a woman's voice calling,
Stacy, isn't that you?
I turned around and knew immediately it was.
It's me, Amy. Remember me? Such a time.
She was my high school friend. We kept in touch after graduation, but eventually became estranged. She got divorced from her husband, with whom she had been married for a long time, and came back to her hometown last year. I told her about what had been going life, editing, and mentioned divorce as well. She smirked and said,
I know the best divorce lawyer. Here's his contact. I have a friend who is an excellent divorce lawyer.
the lawyer happened to be the same whom I had a crush in high school. I remember him clearly. I wanted to give him a birthday present, but there were already many decorative gifts around his locker. I went to another locker he used for the tennis club, but it was also the same. So I took a bus to his home, but his mailbox was too small. And there was a barking dog in the yard, so I couldn't get to the porch. I didn't have the courage to direct to him, so I gave up and went home. A bittersweet memory of my youth. I got the location and phone number office. Thank you so much, Amy. I'll be sure to let you know if I need anything else. I couldn't waste a second, so I went to see him after that. I didn't book an appointment ahead, but I just needed to do something. A friendly, middle-aged woman helped me. I was told that there was a cancellation, so I was in luck. She even offered to babysit Mark and to the office. I waited for a little while, then Mr. Jackson showed up. He was handsome back then, but his good looks were polished by age, and he was gorgeous. Not only did his face, but also his body looked like a mask, and the way he carried himself in that was to die for. Compared to him, Eric was like a Goliath.
Thanks for waiting. I'm Adam Jacks meeting you.
He introduced himself as he pulled business card. I did likewise, but I noticed my voice shaking. I apologized for showing up without appointment. Edit. Briefed him on the purpose of the visit. He started asking me questions, but hard time focusing. On top of his good appearance, he has a beautiful tenor voice. As I was listening to him, I couldn't stop imagining him getting better with age, like George Clooney. We were in the office for about an hour. It was the happiest time of my life while I thanked Adam and the woman vigorously before I left. Mark had been a good boy all this time, and I swore to myself that I would be strong. While I got temporary custody, Adam negotiation with Eric's attorney. Of course, he wasn't willing to set easily, and he was so carried away by his rage that he couldn't even think straight. Hence, we went to trial.
Don't worry. It happens often.
Adam tried to soothe my anxiety. I got a ride from him to the court of our trial. As soon as I got there, I felt a knot in my stomach. I was going to see Eric for the first time since I left. When he saw me enter the room, he immediately grimaced at me.
You bitch. What the hell are you doing? Who took care of you all this time? You owe me.
He looked like he was about to jump. So the security guard and his lawyer rested their case. He was dragged out of the room by his arms and legs and thrown into the hallway. I was horrified. Even if we divorced, he might take rent. I could hear him screaming, and his lawyer said it's going to have a negative effect. And the worst case, the police. We went through the hearing without an incident after that. Mark and I were offered to stay with Amy's parents for the time being. They ran a local diner and hired me as a waitress out of their kindness. In addition to that, they had an unused trailer in their backyard, which they offered us to stay in. One night, I don't know how they found me, but Eric's parents showed up they tried to cross the yard toward trailer me, and Amy's parents stopped them. I heard them shouting. Amy signed me to hide and went out with them.
If you don't leave now, we'll call police.
As she said this, she was already They realized the seriousness and tried to run away, but Amy's parents held them in place. The policemen arrived within a few. After hearing both sides, they escorted in-laws back to the car and made sure they drove away. I frantically apologized to Amy and parents and started packing my things, but they stopped me and told me to stay with them.
Your divorce drama is quite entertaining. I'm so geared up to fight with you.
Wait, came to think of it, she was into spee soap operas. Thanks to Adam, I was able to get a good alimony, custody, and child support. I could finally cut all ties and move on with my life. I can live freely doing whatever I do. I held Mark tightly in my arms. He needs to be reassured that I will be by his side. Before I parted with Adam, I did not forget to thank him for the job he had done, but finally told him that I actually was from high school. He didn't recognize me, but he promised me that I could count on him if there was anything. Later on, the rumor about my in-laws spread in their neighborhood, and Eric too was seen by the neighbors as an abusive husband. They were too embarrassed that they another town. Eric had sold the new apartment and half of the profit. He was in debt from the trial and soon to pay me alimony and child support. So he lived in a trailer park. I had been afraid of his retaliation, but he wasn't as stupid as I thought. He never tried to get in touch with me. As for the in-laws, even after the incident, they had been warned by the police not to come and see me. So they eventually got arrested. After spending some time in the pen, got ill, and were sent to facility by Eric. As for me, I still work at the diner.
Hey, Stacy, have a break. Let's get to eat.
Thanks. Yeah, let's eat.
I take off my name tag and sit down booth. Amy joins with a cheeky smile on her.
So, how's it going with Adam?
Direct to the point. Huh?
Of course, I want to know everything.
Adam had asked me out after meeting, and we started seeing each other. He is supposed to meet Mark official this weekend. I tell Amy about it.
Wow, Mark's finally meeting him. Where are you guys going? Who suggested bringing Mark?
She is so excited with many questions. Good food, good friends, and a re-encounter with my old crush. I've had terrible experiences, but I had the courage to get out one life. Because now I'm standing at the end of the tunnel. I feel grateful and blessed to be able to stay with Mark more than anything. I will live my own life surrounded people, supporting each other from now.